Day 3 of the 2021 GS Trophy National Qualifier. It was finally the last day of our adventure. We got up at around 6:45 the next morning after very little sleep. All of the riders got ready for the day's riding and we went outside. We were given very little information about all the challenges that we would be doing today and also where we were heading right now. So just like that, we set out into the unknown. We were riding through these tall grasses with a bit of a wet underbed that we couldn't really see, and Mark slid on it and had his first drop. Well done, Mark. But luckily, after a quick hop back on the motorcycle and no injuries, we were back on our way. We continued to head through a small trench with a stream passing through it, and then proceeded to climb this hill. It was actually quite the ride. It was extremely cold outside, and unfortunately my motorcycle's right heat warmer doesn't work, so I was quickly warming up my right hand. It was awesome. I also noticed that those rubbers we had replaced just prior to Nationals were causing a bit of trouble. I think it was due to all of those drops the previous night while doing donuts, but after 1 or 2 slams it was fixed. And pretty soon we arrived at our destination. It was a small bit of bush close to Country Track's headquarters. We would be traversing through amazing single file tracks all the way to our first exercise. If you'd rather skip to the first exercise of day 3, feel free to skip to the next timestamp. But I promise you, this was some awesome cruising through these windy roads. I also wanted to show you what it looks like looking through yellow glasses. I promise they help a lot, especially in darker areas to spot shadows, and also in the middle of the day to more easily spot lurkers and such on dirt roads. I might make a video on it in the future. And after about half an hour of crazy speed and agility through these small turns, we arrived at exercise 12. The early morning was looking like it was having an effect on me, but I guess it was just this photo. But most of the riders were ready for the next challenge and we were all looking forward to it. Exercise 12 was a sort of bush track. This was consisting of multiple parts, but most of it was technicals. The first part would be the most important. In the first half of the race, you would be held accountable for any dabs, drops, or borders. Meaning, as always, that a single dab multiplies your time by 2, meaning 1 minute becomes 2. A single border multiplies by 3, meaning your time becomes 3 minutes. And a single drop multiplies your time by 4. It was important to do this first half perfect, without any drops. As the second half of the track, it did not matter. You could dab as much as you wanted, as long as your time was quick. So all of your focus and precision was needed in this first half, and then in your second half you could go gung-ho. This was one of the 800's advantages, and I was looking forward to it. I could maybe make up for all my prior mistakes and keep on riding. And pretty soon we were in queue. Team Northwest was going to be up about halfway down the line, and I would be first. At first I started out pretty well. It was important to take your first turn nice and wide to stop your backside of your motorcycle hitting that log. But as you've all seen by now, I always find some way to screw it up, and I somehow dropped my motorcycle there. I have absolutely no idea what I did there, but I think I must have just yanked on my front brake a bit too hard and screwed it up already. And finally, knowing that in the second half no mistakes were counted, I gave my motorcycle its all. This was what I'd come here for, and this was also the thing I liked the most about motorcycle racing, so I could finally just go crazy. And unfortunately, coming around one of the final corners of the track, I caught the rider in front of me, meaning that I was now going to have to wait behind another rider. Staying hot on his heels, I didn't notice a massive rock in the middle of the road, and the motorcycle completely spun out from underneath me, and the throttle wouldn't let go because of my barkbuster that was bent into it. So my motorcycle completely spun in a circle. At the time I was pretty angry. Thank you so much for everyone that jumped in to help me. I really appreciate the help that you guys were giving me, and I apologize for being so quiet. Actually, I was just quiet looking at my motorcycle, not very happy with what was going on. But yeah, luckily we got the motorcycle back up, and after fixing my barkbuster and my gear lever, I continued down the hill, and luckily Meulen came to me and he told me that I could have a rerun. The only problem now was if I performed even more poorly than the first run, but my hopes were high, and I thought that I could now finally fix that simple drop there in the beginning and do a better job. And finally, at the start of my second run, I started the exact same way. I took a nice and wide turn and I nailed that first beginning, and I also this time didn't yank on my front brake like I did the previous time. But of course I had to screw it up some way, and I somehow didn't make it up the hill, and this time I fell my seat off of my motorcycle. I've never seen this happen, but at the time I wasn't too happy about it. Trying to get my seat back on it as quickly as possible, but something wouldn't clip on. But I decided to just try and fix it later and keep going. And after struggling for quite a while, I finally got on, and I just gave my motorcycle its all. Decided, well, let's just get this over with. And then I dropped my motorcycle again. So now it was 2 drops instead of just the 1 prize, so I was already screwing this up, and I guess it is what it is, but yeah. At the time I was pretty cross with myself, as you can imagine. I feel like something that Lewis Hamilton recently said at F1 makes a lot of sense, and he said that, you know, we're very passionate about this racing and about what we do. And sometimes when you're racing, that passion comes out. And we try to stay calm, but you know, it's something you enjoy so much and you want to do good at. So it doesn't feel very good if you screw it up. But I luckily continued with the race, and I was doing the track pretty quickly, and luckily this time I didn't somehow screw up that down drop there. And I also was unsure where the ending of the race was, so I thought it was right before this log. So I stopped and I shook my head, but then they said no, I had to go over that stump real quick. And thanks to everybody there that quickly helped me there and pulled out the nail from my tire. I really appreciate that as well. At the time I was pretty quiet while standing there, and I guess I was just trying to not be too angry with myself. But thank you so much everyone, I really appreciate it. Pretty soon we were on our way back to base camp, and yeah, now that I knew I was definitely not in the competition anymore, I was just enjoying it, and Tolstoy was also having a good time, and yeah. And after passing through the same tall grasses we had the morning, we were having a good time this time, knowing that it was wet, so giving a lot of throttle. And after getting back to base camp at Country Tracks, we had a quick lunch, which was so good. Thank you so much everyone. And then we continued to have a small ceremony where a lot of the riders were then eliminated, myself included. And yeah, it was a little bit sad, but it was also understandable to make sure that we choose the best team possible, and luckily Tolstoy was there for emotional support. Thanks Tolstoy. Furthermore, Mark from the Northwest team was going to be competing on the final day, and JP as well. Well done JP, well done Mark, you guys were riding excellent over the entire weekend. And although my story ends here, a lot of other stories were still continuing, and these were stories definitely worth telling. So next up was exercise 13, sand. In the sand, no dabs would be counted. Borders and drops would still be the same. There were a bunch of cones set in the sand through which the riders would have to weave. Upon reaching the final cone, you would have to do a U-turn within the sand and then weave back exactly the opposite way that you had come through all the cones. Seeing that no dabs would count here, the strategic way to do this would to rather go slow and dab your way all the way to the end and back. But some of the riders decided they would be having a lot more fun than that, and they did awesome.
So JP, voel je me right performance? Makkelijk.
Net lekker tyd hierso.
Dis al wat ons kort.
Dis al wat ons kort.
En enige boodskappe vir die fans?
Wees op hulle net besigheid humble.
Net. Thanks JP.
Tell me, how are you feeling?
Confused at the moment, buddy. Confused, eh? Yeah.
Why are you feeling confused, Sarah?
I think the fact that you don't know where you stand with this, and you know it's anybody's game, and 1 minute it's yours, and the next minute someone else's, and then you're at the bottom of the log, and then you're nowhere. So I think at the moment it's basically just pulling in the bank and everything, eh? Putting everything in the bank, and see what comes out at the end of the day, eh?
I see what you mean, Tyrell. And tell me, how do you feel about your run in the sand?
Yeah, I think there's no comment to that at the moment. I did a boundary, and yeah, so we're not taking that to the bank. Let's call it that way.
And then finally, lastly, is there anything you want to say to the people back home, to the fans?
You guys got to do this, eh? This is for the bucket list, guys. Do it, flat out.
Thank you so much, Toit.
After every 2 or 3 riders had already went, Jan quickly hopped on his tractor and then quickly ploughed the whole sandbank to make sure that all of the riders would be facing the same amount of challenge.
So Mark, how do you feel about that run?
Very nice. Very soft sand, challenging, but just give it on all the way. Open throttle, eh? What can we say?
So you're happy with your performance in the sand?
Happy so far. Think I did well. Hopefully the time is just proves it.
Mark Senior, Mark Junior, Mark Senior, how do you feel about your run?
Ja, disappointed dat ik in de boundary gestaan. Onnodig.
Anything you want to say to the fans at back home?
Train, do it, ride the GS, do what you love. Come and see what we are doing here.
Thanks, Mark.
One of probably the best passes in the sand was Luan on his 800 GS. A lighter motorcycle compared with Luan's skill made for a really lightning quick pass. This was also where I captured 2 or 3 really cool slow motion shots. Bruin from the Eastern Cape team also had a really cool moment here, and this was also where I got that super cool shot of Dalton going in the sand. I'm sure you've seen it by now. Dalton had an awesome run, but made a small mistake near the end, but he got back on his motorcycle, and this is what it sounded like. This was where I got a pretty cool shot of the sand shooting right into the camera. I had to pay the price for it though. And pretty soon after we were heading to what is known on Jan's Plaas as Little Hill. It is, as you can imagine, a small hill. And we were almost there, but no, this was not Little Hill, and that hill in front of us was also not Little Hill. Little Hill was still on its way, and Tolstoy was also having a good time. So exercise 14 was Little Hill. It was yet again a small obstacle course surrounding what is known as Little Hill. Now, putting Little Hill into scale isn't always the easiest thing to do, especially not on camera, but this is a pretty steep downhill. And what the riders were going to have to do was climb it on the right hand side and then do a 180-degree turn to the back, and then also go down Little Hill, stopping their motorcycles inside of a box. Other than that, all of the normal rules would be counting: dabs, borders, and also drops. Gerrit Toit was among the first riders to ascend and descend Little Hill, and believe me, he made it look easy. Soon JP from Team Northwest was up. He had an awesome run. Well done, JP. Afterwards, of course, Mark followed, who did also exceptionally well. Well done, guys.
Bye, Mark. Is je reg? Jy het hom.
And Ruan, the other 800 in the competition, also was doing a pretty good job. Well done, Ruan. Brom in his 1200 had problems with his brake calipers on the way to nationals and was doing this with only one front disc brake. Well done, Brom, you did really well. The ladies also had a really good pass over the track, and Cristelle was also doing an amazing job. Pretty soon after, we headed back to base camp and grabbed lunch. Of course, we were having wraps. These wraps were so delicious. Thank you so much. And once again, we were back in action. Exercise 15 was Jan's famous wall of life. Now, the rules would be simple. Prior to the exercise, a yellow spray paint line was painted about in the middle of the wall of life. Riders would have to do 2 consecutive circles, staying above the yellow circle without going below it once. Touching the yellow line would mean a border. So all of the riders had a turn to hop into the dome, do their 2 circles and hop back out again. And believe me, these guys make it look easy. This is no easy feat. This is just to give you a better perspective of what it looks like and what it feels like to be going in circles, basically sideways. Brom did an awesome pass and he even let me put my GoPro on his bike. Thank you so much, Brom. After the wall of life there was one more exercise, but I'd rather not include it as it's the same exercise all over the world and some of the countries haven't done it yet. Thank you so much, everyone. And next up was, of course, the prize giving. Now, the venue looked amazing. Thank you so much, every single person and everybody in control of this and doing the job so phenomenally well. You guys did an amazing job. We continued by having an amazing dinner, and following that, the team was announced that would be representing South Africa in Albania in 2022. First, the ladies team was announced, and of course, they were two really good riders. Congratulations so much. And following the ladies, of course, the men's team was announced. Well done, guys. You'll be doing an excellent job in Albania. I was lucky enough to talk to some of the winners at the end of the night, and I immediately asked Gerrit how he was feeling and how he was feeling about his performance across the entire event.
My performance was just based on the support and the skill, and not so much skill, but I think the brains are a bit less than anything else, but this has just been great. I enjoyed the whole thing. Everybody supported me, everybody encouraged me, and well, now I'm standing where I'm standing, and it's such an excitement, I can barely breathe.
I can imagine.
Thanks to all of you guys, especially you and the other guys in your team and everybody here. It's been a wonderful event. Even all of the guys that didn't make it, it's thanks to them as well. It's just been great, and it's a lovely event. And I hope to see you guys in my position in a few years. If you don't make it, I'm gonna make you make it. So thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you very much for your time, Gerrit. Dalton, what are you feeling?
No, I feel awesome at this stage. It's an absolutely awesome feeling.
How do you feel about your performance?
A bit up and down, you're never sure what happens, but in the end it turned out well, so happy.
So you're happy with your performance, and any other words you have for the people back at home?
Happy with my performance. All I can say is get yourselves out here, come and enjoy it, and maybe in 2 years' time it's your turn.
Words for the fam?
Thanks for everything. That's basically it.
Thanks, Dalton.
Thank you very much.
How are you feeling?
I am absolutely over the moon. This is something that has been a long-term goal, 2019 till now. Haven't stopped training, and now the achievement has paid off. It's really worked hard.
That's amazing to you, Warren. Warren, any words to the family back at home?
I just want to tell them thanks for all their support. You know, our house just lives GS Trophy, and they can now sit and relax because we've achieved what we wanted to achieve. Now we're going into international trophy, and then we're going to bring back the trophy for the 4th time.
That's what we want to hear, Warren.
Right.
Any final messages you want to give?
No, just thanks for all the support from everybody that's been behind me the whole way with the trophy.
Warren, thank you so much for your
Thanks
time.
a lot.
Cristelle, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling elated. I'm feeling great. I've achieved what I wanted to do, and worked hard for it, and going for gold and got it.
It's understandable, and it's lovely to hear. Cristelle, do you have any words for the family at home?
Oh, to my wonderful husband that supports me. Without his support, I can't do this. Without his confidence in me, I can't do this. Really, I can't. My daughters that support me, and my sons-in-law that supports me. Thank you very much. I appreciate it in moments of doubt. My daughters that supported me, my husband that supported me, thank you very much. Yeah.
So lovely to hear. And lastly, anything else you would love to say?
Yeah, I would like to say thank you to my coach, Luan. He really carries me through, and Xander, his wife, they support me, they carry me through. Whenever I'm in doubt and my mind kind of leaves me, because it does many times, he just sets me back on track and gives me the focus. I just want to say thank you to Joe and Linda Boddington they just gave up their weekends to train us and support us, and it's been such a lovely journey. Thank you, Joe and Linda.
It's lovely to hear. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And well, what happened after all of the formalities were done was probably one of the sickest after parties you could ever imagine. I can't say much, but if you were there you would know that it was quite the time. From blowing up that train to doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Thank you so much everybody. The BMW GS Trophy Qualifier 2021 was really a special and super unique event. I'm sure everybody had a blast, and thank you so much. And as always, if you somehow made it all the way to the end, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I had a good time making all of these videos. And until next time, cheers.